It's time to fire this thing up.
See that boat right there, Trace?
Yeah.
That's a 32-foot CV, and I'm thinking about getting a bigger boat for the show. Maybe a CV, maybe an Intrepid, maybe a Yellowfin.
Yep.
And you notice how that boat, as well as a lot of our other neighbors here on the canal, how they have boat lifts?
Yes.
There's some real advantages to a boat lift. You don't have to bottom paint the hull. You don't have to worry about the through hull fittings being in the salt water corroding. They're just much nicer to maintain rather than just mooring it right at the dock. What do you think?
Well, as you know, there's disadvantages that I see as well, which is it's an eyesore to the view, and it's just not a nice looking addition to the backyard.
Okay, I can agree with that. Like if you come over here and you take a look at that beam going across the pilings and that ugly motor, yeah, that's kind of nasty. But what if I could find a boat lift to where all you saw was the boat? You didn't see any of the metal components. Do you think that would be all right?
That'd be great.
Hey, well, good deal, you made it. Hi, I'm John Gorviscus. This is my wife, Tracy, and this is a very normal conversation for people to have when they own waterfront real estate. And what we're going to be doing today here at ShipShape TV is we're going to be on a quest for a boat lift for our house. Now, like always, the program is going to be jam-packed full of tips and information. And speaking of tips, here's today's very first one. So guys, if we could, let's go ahead and roll it.
John, what we're looking at here is a new product for Glen Raven, for Sunbrella. It's called the strap material. It's made out of Sunbrella fiber, and you know Mike Erickson, right? Of course, Mike,
sure.
Our good buddy Mike. Mike's been playing with this leaning post concept. Not only does it take weight out of the boat, but it's sort of the way this the way this strap is. When you sit on it, it actually acts as a shock absorber if you're hitting the waves, so it doesn't jar you quite as much.
Right.
But more importantly, as I said, it takes weight out of the boat, and when it gets wet, it dries really quickly, which Sunbrella does.
Bill, could you use this Sunbrella strap as like maybe a privacy curtain in between cabins or something?
Absolutely,
like that?
it'd be down in the salon of the boat. It'd be a great place if you need some privacy. It's lightweight, you can store it easily, pretty compact. You could also use it as a strap material behind the leaning post to hold the cooler in place.
Okay, this is Bill McDaniel, and Bill is the Marine Market Manager for Glen Raven Custom Fabrics. And we're at the International Boat Building Exposition in Tampa this year. It's called IBEX. And are a lot of boat manufacturers getting into this strap?
Well, it's new. We're just starting to introduce it. They're starting to sort of play with it, experiment a little bit, but it's a great opportunity to have a softer feel and a lighter weight component in the boat.
What are the different colors that it comes in?
It comes in 8 different colors. It's basically, here's a sample card, as a matter of fact. Black, gray, tans, fairly neutral colors.
Okay, so it has 1-inch strap, 2-inch strap.
Correct.
You can do a lot of different things with it. It's never going to wash out from the sun.
Right.
Okay, that's why you want to go with Sunbrella. Best stuff you can get. How do people at home get more information on this new Sunbrella strap?
I'll simply go to sunbrella.com/ShipShape, click on the tab of interest.
ShipShape TV, the global leader in boat improvement, is being brought to you in part by Sunbrella Marine Beautiful Fabrics. For above and below deck, Sunbrella, we live to be on the water. By Boat Outfitters, your source for replacement hardware, custom king starboard doors, tackle centers, and more. Need it? They'll build it. Visit BoatOutfitters.com to update or customize your boat today. And finally, made possible by Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Welcome back. This is a real working 28-acre boatyard / boat building facility residing in Stuart, Florida. It's ShipShape TV's home base. Ideally located, the complex is situated on the shores of the Okeechobee Waterway, which happens to connect the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. Now once again, here's the founder and host of ShipShape TV, John Graviscus.
I want you guys to take a look at this right here. Do you see that beam on this boat lift going over these two pilings? Now, we have two neighbors on the canal that have that exact same style boat lift, and my wife Tracy for 14 years has said, no way, I'm not gonna have one of those things in my backyard. We have a beautiful waterfront piece of property. I don't want it hampering our view. So naturally, I haven't had a boat lift for 14 years. But I was doing some research, and I actually found a company that is making now a beamless boat lift to where it's not unsightly. And that's where we've landed. We're now in Safety Harbor, Florida, at a company called Deco Boat Lifts. And who I would like to introduce you to is one of the owners. He's right over here. This is George Massow. And George, thank you so much for being on the program.
Good to see you, John.
I have kind of a unique situation. I have a lot of different project boats for my television show. And some of our popular ones are our 25-foot Pursuit. We have a 28-foot Blue Water. I have a 23-foot Aubrey Brothers boat, and I'm thinking about getting another vessel. I'm thinking about getting a 32, either CV, Intrepid, maybe a Yellowfin. I'm not sure yet, but I definitely know I'm going to be getting another project boat for the program. Based on that information, okay, I know these boat lifts apparently come in weight capacities or whatever. What weight capacity lift should I consider buying?
Well, the 16,000 pound is a good all-around size. You can pick everything from a 32-foot boat down to your small boats and swap them out on the lift whenever you so choose.
Okay, now a traditional boat lift is a cradle-style lift. It does hamper your view. You're making this beamless lift, and how strong is that compared to a traditional cradle lift?
Well, the beamless lift has 4 motors and 4 gearboxes instead of 2, which would be traditional. And because you're using the 4 individual corners and 4 individual gearboxes, you have a lot of lifting power. And
so it's actually stronger than a conventional.
Yeah, it's definitely stronger.
You don't get the hampered view, and you get a stronger lift.
Yes.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Again, doing my research, I came across the fact that you guys patented a technology to keep the cable from crossing over itself. And when that happens, guys, that will crush your cable, and sometimes you can get shards or like, straggly ends. Okay, you don't want a cable breaking, but you came up with something to keep the cable from, not crossing. What's that called?
Oh, the cable retention system. It's a deep groove winder that the cable sits down inside of with a plastic retainer over the top. It's a very unique piece of equipment that we've incorporated on the beamless lifts as well as some of our other concept lifts.
And that's patented technology from Deco.
It is.
George, recently I had you to my house, and I know that you took some pictures. Can you kind of, you know what I'm trying to do? I don't want to block the entire 25-foot dock. What ideas did you come up with for me?
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll move the boat lift forward off the end of the dock, put all 4 new pilings in, install the lift, and you'll be able to access the back of your boat through either a walkway or the swim platform from the end of the dock and still have plenty of room on your dock for another boat.
Is there a big price difference going from a traditional cradle lift with those beams that you see and kind of blocks your view to this beamless lift where you don't see anything, you just see your boat? It's beautiful.
There is. There's a difference of about $2,500, and that $2,500 is represented by the added gearboxes, the added motors, and the added design and cable retention system that's incorporated in the lift.
But if that's been a stumbling block, it has been for me, of why you don't have a boat lift, you just took that out of the equation.
Yeah, there's no reason for you not to have a boat lift now.
Okay, well, how would somebody at home, I know you sell boat lifts all over the country, how would somebody at home get more information on Deco's beamless boat lifts?
Yeah, feel free to go to our website, decoboatlift.com, and that'll answer all your questions. It'll connect you to the office, great photos and pictures, some measurements, and you can plan out your dock and lifts right there.
John, I understand from George you just bought yourself a lift.
I did. I got a 16,000-pound beamless lift from your company, Deco Boat Lift.
Fabulous.
And welcome back. We are now in one of the manufacturing facilities here in Safety Harbor, and who we now have on the program is Rich Massell. And Rich, George was telling me the kind of the heartbeat of why people like these Deco boat lifts and why I want this Deco boat lift is not only does it not have the beams, okay, this is a beamless lift, but they're fast, they're smooth, they're quiet, and this is kind of the centerpiece of the whole deal. What are we looking at here?
Well, you're right. It is the centerpiece of the Deco style lift. We actually manufacture our own drive system.
Okay.
And it's a worm reduction drive where we've taken a billet piece of aluminum, 6061 T6, and we've CNC machined it to our appropriate tolerances and built it for our gearbox.
This is all milled out to fit the worm gear. This is a worm gear type of drive.
To fit a specific worm that we've had designed.
Okay, could you actually start assembling this?
Sure. This is a bronze worm gear that's made to fit into this housing. Then we take the worm, which assembles like this. Here you can get a better shot of it.
And then go ahead and turn the gear.
Yes, and when you're turning the input shaft, the output shaft spins with it.
So there's two halves that get milled out.
Correct.
And they go over one another, kind of like this, right?
That's right.
And what goes inside?
Well, we fill that whole cavity with an oil, a heavyweight oil designed by us. And so the whole system is continuously lubed with nothing to rust.
So that's why it's the quietest, that's why it's the fastest.
Everything's stainless.
That's why people want this.
Input, output shafts, everything's stainless. This box is truly made for saltwater.
Okay, well you head up manufacturing, and I know George gave you a work order for my 16-ton lift.
Correct.
We're in a different building. What takes place here?
Well, once we've got the paperwork for the lift, we start the whole process by going to material cut. And for instance, for your beamless lift, we would start by cutting the C-channel that makes up the body of the lift that mounts against the pole. Then we also would cut the main support members, which is a 4x6 rectangular tube.
Right.
And then some of the smaller pieces that go into the lift we keep on the shelf, where we can gather them together and weld them.
So this is where a lot of welding kind of takes place. And is
Absolutely.
it traditional where you start off with tack welding and just kind of hold it in position and you come back and do some beautiful finish welds?
Yes. What we'll do is we'll take the parts and pieces. We've got a drawing. We set up everything, tack everything together, and then come back in and put the final weld that holds the part together.
I've seen the finished lifts actually at job sites. Okay, and they don't look anything like the finish that's here in the welding shop. They're brilliant. They're gorgeous. They're clean. How do you do that?
Well, we've got a number of methods that we use to clean the lifts, but probably the most popular is we use an aluminum brightener, which brightens the aluminum back up before it goes in the field.
Okay, so basically there's going to be 4 identical corners, if you will, to my beamless lift, and that's going to go on to 4 different individual pilings.
Correct.
Okay, again, I know people are going to want to get more information on Deco boat lifts. How do they do that?
Okay, we've got a great website, decoboatlift.com. We've got an 800 number and multiple salesmen in the office ready to help.
Welcome back aboard. Fishing for boat improvement? Well, you caught it right here at Ship Shape TV.
Well, we have been busy here at Ship Shape TV. We're now on the installation part of my new Deco boat lift, and I want to introduce you to my marine contractor. This is Tom Ash, and Tom owns a company called American Thatch. And he specializes in building tiki huts. He did the one over at Blowing Rocks Marina. It's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And you're not using grass. Okay, what are you using as a thatching material for that tiki hut?
Sable palm. Sable palm is our native material, and that's what we use in South Florida.
Well, the Seminoles have built quite a few of these tiki hut structures all over South Florida, And I'm telling you, they're becoming popular not only at businesses, waterfront businesses, but also people's homes. Well, you also specialize in installing boat lifts and docks and sea walls and all that kind of stuff. We've actually put in already 4 pilings. And who is the company that brought those?
That's Decks and Docks out of Fort Pierce, Florida.
Guys, this was so cool. They were all 25 feet long. And what Tom uses is this contraption right here. This is called a jet pump. And literally he's evacuating water and he's jetting these pilings in, and they're now 13 feet down into the seafloor. And he has strategically located 4 of them for my boat lift. And what's the next step? What do we put into these pilings?
We'll wrap them with a vinyl wrap to keep them from getting eaten up by the marine boars. And then we'll take the power head and through bolt it up against the piling, John. And it gets mounted with 3/4 inch stainless steel through bolts.
Now these power head guys, this is the motor in the gearbox, and it's on the inside of the piling. When I'm looking at my neighbor's stuff, okay, I'm seeing those beams overhead, I'm seeing the motors, those ugly motors. That's what Tracy didn't like.
That's the big seller.
Well, what goes on to these power heads cable-wise?
It has a cable that drops down to a box beam, and it simply goes to a pulley that goes back up to the power head. So it's a 2-part cable, and there's 4 motors. So there's there's capability of moving each corner of the boat lift. That's what makes
independently.
Independently.
Okay,
that's what makes this lift very unique, is that you can move each corner higher or lower if you needed to drain the water out or get to work on part of the boat somewhere.
Now guys, a box beam is much stronger construction-wise than an I-beam is. And there's 2 of them. There's going to be one going through this set of pilings. There's going to be a second one back behind us. And then what, over top of that goes the bunks?
Then the aluminum bunk boards. This particular lift has aluminum bunks versus wooden bunks.
Okay.
And
again, high quality.
High quality. Again, it's all the elite products.
Okay.
You know?
Now guys, boat lifts down here get powered by electricity, and there are options. There's 110, there's 220. Okay.
Correct.
But you need to have a licensed electrician do this. And it's also very important that you have a GFI. But Tom, you do a lot of work down here, and you do great work. And there are a lot of people moving to Florida. There's a lot of people that have older boat lifts and they need them replaced, or they might need a dock, or they might need a tiki hut in their backyard. My neighbor 2 doors down, I'm so jealous, man. He has a tiki hut. I don't. I want one. Okay, that's going to be another show. How do people at home actually get you?
They can send me an email, which is americanthatch@bellsouth.net.
From the start of your outboard until you return to the dock, make sure your boating experience is always fun and enjoyable by remembering that maintenance matters. Presented by Yamaha.
John, I want to take just a couple of minutes and get right straight into extended storage.
This is David Mueller, and David is a Yamaha Master Tech. He's also the Product Information Manager for Yamaha Marine. And there are a lot of people in the country that have to go away from their boats for long periods of time. What do we do to store them?
You know, the best thing to do is start at the bottom. Start at the propeller, go ahead and remove the propeller, and treat the propeller shaft to a coating of Yamalube, a good quality marine grease. You also want to change the lower unit lubricant. You don't want that lower unit lubricant in there over the course of the extended storage because it contains contaminants and things like that. So go ahead and change that out. Pop the cowling and use something like Yamalube, YamaShield, which you spray underneath the cowling as a corrosion preventative, and it's also a lubricant. And then there's silicone spray that you can use on like rubber seals and gaskets to keep them supple.
This is also a great time to go ahead and change out your anodes. If they're more than 50% gone, you need to replace them. Now, no matter how many hours you have on your engine, you do want to change the 4-stroke oil.
Without question.
But I want to get into fuel treatment here. First off, how much fuel should we leave in our gas tanks?
Yamaha recommends 7/8 of a tank of treated stabilized fuel. The extra 1/8 of a tank is for the expansion and contraction due to the thermals of nighttime, daytime, that kind of thing.
I'm a do-it-yourselfer, okay? I can do all this stuff, but a lot of people at home aren't. Where could they get this service done?
You can get any Yamaha dealer to perform these services for you. Find one at YamahaOutboards.com, the dealer locator in the upper right-hand corner.
ShipShape TV will be right back. Welcome back. You're watching ShipShape TV, boat improvement made easy.
Take a look at how much water view we still have. Hey, welcome back. A lot of work has taken place since Tiki Tom installed our boat lift. For example, we needed to run some 1-inch conduit. So I brought in North Atlantic Electric and their team, and they ran the wire for 220. That's what my lift is powered on. And you will notice that I have now a power pod installed onto my dock. That's courtesy of Ron Gatto over at Broward Casting Foundry. And this thing is so sweet. It actually is now my water station, so that I can wash down the boat. And I had Mashera Plumbing come in and plumb that in. And it's also wired up to be my dedicated GFI for protection on a boat lift. You gotta have that. It also has circuit, switches on it so I can turn on the lights. My lights match the dock. And it has 110. It has a 30 amp service. This thing is the Mac Daddy, okay, of power pods. And George, you were showing me earlier how to run the boat lift. I've never had one before. And you were showing me a special type of remote. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the remote control will operate the whole lift from your handheld. And that handheld has an up button, a down button, and a stop button. So you can do everything from the dock or on the boat when you're leaving or coming into the dock.
Looking at my neighbor's boat lifts and looking at mine, I really think I'm going to be the envy of Jupiter. I think I have the best looking, least obtrusive lift out on the water, and I know a lot of people might want this. One more time, how do they get Deco boat lifts?
DecoBoatLifts.com.
Well, my friend, we need to thank you. We also need to thank Rich over at the factory, Tiki Tom from American Thatch, North Atlantic Electric, Mashera Plumbing. My guys, like always, worked real hard. Of course, you. But this time, I'm thanking most my wife. She got what she wanted, I got what I wanted, but we're all out of time. I'm John Berviscus, again, George Massal. We will see you on the next go-around.
Closed captioning for ShipShape TV has been made possible by Marine 31 Boat Waxes, Cleaners, and Polishes. At Marine 31, quality and value stand above all else. Professional results are only a few simple steps away. Marine 31, for the captain that demands the best for their boat.